Alright, how you doing everybody? I got another video for you. Let's see, what are we going to talk about today? Well, a lot of things. There's a lot of things to cover. I don't even know where to start actually. Somebody wrote me, and a viewer, and he put me to the task, and he says he's unclear as to what you're proposing as a solution to the way men are to interact with women. The master plan. You want to know the master plan. Okay, well, it's coming up. Should men lie to them, then hump them or dump them? Hump them and dump them, okay? Date until there's drama and then run? Friends with benefits? Fuck buddies with benefits? One night stands? Group sex? Oh boy. So these are all the options. No. For various reasons, none of these really work, right? And then he says, why don't you give us a video with your suggestions and not be so abstract? I've never been abstract. I don't know where he gets this from. It's always been practice with me. Experience and practice. My suggestions come from experience. My knowledge comes from experience and study, both. But I don't like theory. Theory is useless. Unless you can put it to practice, of course. And you also stated that you were going to do a video on prostitution. Yes, well, I don't have much to say about prostitution. I don't have very much experience with prostitution, although I do have experience with prostitution. And it basically, you know, try it to see what it's like. You know, try it, and with a lot of things, you instantly know what it's all about as soon as you try it, right? You instantly can tell if it's for you, if it's not for you, if it works, if it has any purpose. And that's the way I was with prostitution. I will get to that later. So he's still waiting for my video on prostitution. Also, you state that you have children, but there is some sort of discord there. I'm interested into why that is anyway. Well, it's very interesting. I mean, when you talk about men going their own way, MGTOW, the biggest hurdle we're facing here, and it's a huge challenge to overcome, and there's a lot of arguments and misunderstanding and dissent because there is such a huge array of males in this community, or males in general in the world, and it's such a large cross section, ranging from literally teenage boys who have never even had a girlfriend or even talked to girls, ranging all the way to single men in their 30s and their 20s or 30s, to divorced men, multiple divorced men, to older males who have limited experience with females, all the way to men of all ages who have decided to go monk and go celibate and keep away from women altogether. So it's such a huge array of experiences that literally a lot of the things discussed on this channel or any other MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way channel, Men's Issues channel, a lot of it is unintelligible to a lot of the men. To some men, it's instantly perceived, right? Oh, I've been there. I've been there exactly. Where to others, it's like, what? You're fucking full of shit. Well, they've never been there. They have no clue, right? And it's going to come to them. It may take a while, it may take a short time, or it may take years and years, or if they never experience any of these things, they will never get there. So it's just one of these things that one has to live with, and as I talked about it in my other videos, there's a lot of male fantasy going around. There's a lot of hijacking of MGTOW as a support group. There's a lot of assuagement for all kinds of deficiencies and voids in men's lives, and male ego comes into play, and there's still some testosterone going around, thank God, and that's where male ego comes in, and some aggression shows through, which normally would not happen if every man was as experienced in life as any other man is. And this is not something that some men who choose to have a closed mind are going to agree to without actually have not experienced these situations and issues with women and with life. So when I talk about kids, obviously this is being asked by somebody who does not have his own kids. And it's a very different matter from somebody who, like myself, who does have two adult grown children, offspring. For those of you who are in the same situation as I am, it's almost an absurd question, is it not? The question again was, you state that you have children, but there is some sort of discord there. I'm interested into why that is anyway. Again, it's a bizarre question that a lot of the men in my situation would never have to ask. They know what it's all about. But anyway, it will be addressed. I will address it. I mean, the whole thing here is to teach. But sometimes a lot of these lessons from a YouTube lecture is a bit too heavy to take for those who have not experienced these things in real life. But this channel is about real life in real time. So it is definitely not theory. It is definitely praxis. So let's talk about relating to women. And basically, I'm going to tell you something that you don't want to hear. A lot of the MGTOW elders or prominent MGTOWs have taught you the opposite, and you're supposed to hold that as dogma and not wander off the reservation. But it's false information, and it's not that they're being, intentionally deceiving or anything like that. It's just, again, it's from lack of experience, along with a good dose of male fantasy and support of one's failings, so to speak. But dealing with women is very simple, and you should have come to this conclusion from my previous videos. There is no way around it. You must concede to women. There is no other way. I wrote down some notes here, so just so I don't forget some of the points I want to make. You know what women want, okay? So if you're going to be watching a lot of MGTOW videos, you're going to hopefully learn something. And if you're going to learn anything, you're going to learn about female nature, right? And what's kind of a little bit neglected is male nature, which must go along with female nature. You can't just learn about female nature. You also must learn about your own nature and how the two fit together, or how the two are totally incompatible with each other, right? So you know what women want, and you know what men want. And then your conclusion from that has to be that there is absolutely no compatibility between the two, unless one concedes, or unless both concede to the other, right? Do women concede to men? Not in the larger scheme of things. Maybe in minor, indirect, everyday life activities they do, but it's all as a means to an end for them. Where males must concede to females on a much wider scope. They must absolutely set themselves on fire, sacrifice themselves for the female in order for the female to realize her biological destiny, her biological motivations, her biological objectives. And what are those? Those are security and security and procreation, having offspring. They are there to have babies. And again, it sounds like I'm generalizing, but just because there is a very small percentage of women, for whatever reason they don't want children, does not negate the whole rule here, all right? So women are baby-making, money-hungry machines, and they are machines in that machines have no feelings, right? They have no emotions. And women actually, in reality, if you're going to be totally honest and expose them, you will realize one consistent factor about women. They do not have emotions when it comes to reaching their biological incentives. They do not have emotions like men do. The sake of having a romantic relationship is not the purpose of a woman. It's only a means to an end. Where for a man it is. A man is after romance, a man is after adventure, a man is after conquering a woman sexually, a man is after creativity and variety in every aspect of life and sexuality. All that is meaningless to a woman. A woman has to conceive, and a woman has to be secure in her everyday position in life. I've had a lot of women tell me that they lost their job and they can't even think about anything else. They can't be horny. They can't start a relationship. They can't go on trips or nothing until they find a new job, and then until they basically shut down and dry up. Okay, because security is so important to a woman. And once you know what women want, women will not take any compromises. Women will not compromise. Women will feel like losers if they compromise. So you have absolutely no choice, despite of what the MGTOW community is trying to teach you, in order, to give nothing to women, to do nothing for women, do everything on your own terms, lay it out for them out in the open, lay down the rules, show them who's boss. All that is so fucking wrong, okay? And it's such bullshit. You can do that. I'm not saying it's wrong to do that, but just don't ever expect to get any women that way, all right? It's what prompted me to do my very first video, where somebody was claiming that they date lots of women and they've had lots of women, and what they first do is they lay down the rules and say, look, I'm giving you nothing. I hope you understand that, right? I'm not giving you marriage. I'm not going to live with you. I'm not spending money on you. You're going to come and you're going to watch me play video games. Is that okay with you, girly? And she says, oh yeah, I just want to be with you. That's all I... Bull fucking shit. She's going to be fucking out of there so fast. All right? The guy's going to have to play video games 24 hours a day for the rest of his life. Okay? Women don't waste time. They have no time to waste. All right? And if that's how you're going to approach it, if you think if you're going to go monk, do it that way. All right? But you don't even have to get that far, because you're going to have no interaction with women whatsoever. But if you're going to have any interaction with women at all, you're going to have to concede to women. There is no other way. Now, don't get too crazy. Don't get too nervous about this. There are some conditions attached to this. Okay? You never concede permanently, never fully or completely, and never exclusively to one woman. Doesn't it sound good? Sounds good, doesn't it? All right. So, what do? You have no other choice but to deceive the woman, right? Because you're not going to get anywhere with her. She won't even look at you, no matter how good looking you are. You've got nothing to offer. You're willing to offer nothing. She's not going to waste her fucking time with you. And she doesn't care about your intellect. She doesn't care really even about, with your muscles or your looks or anything like that. It's what are you going to put on the table for me? Because they're money hungry, baby making machines. All right? And what gets them from point A to point B is the only thing that they're interested in. They want full commitment, and they want commitment, your commitment to them exclusively, no other woman. Okay? Where I've talked in my other videos about this, in how a man's biological objective is the complete opposite of that, right? So we're getting to that. So you have no choice but to deceive them into believing that you are fully prepared and ready and have the potential to give her everything that she desires. She will then get wet, open up, and open the door for you, the first door. Well, see, the way women operate is they have, there's a whole series of doors, many, many, many doors. And a woman progressively opens one door after the next. But she decides, you have to understand that contrary to what prominent MGTOWs are teaching you, you are never in control. It's always the woman that's in control. She makes the choices, she makes the decisions, and she opens every one of those doors. She is the only one that can open those doors, not you. As much as you want to believe that you have this, you're powerful male and masculinity and all that, yeah, you can have that. But when it comes to dealing with women, they have the power, they have the control, and they want control. They will not be satisfied with anything unless they have control of you, or at least if you make them think. That's the key, that they have control of you. And so what women are after is control. If they have control over you, they have everything that you represent, everything that you live for, everything that you're worth, everything, every ounce of your labor, every ounce of your attention, if they have control over you. So you have to pretend you're giving them control. It's the only way you're ever going to get anywhere. Unless you want to go monk, that is. So, you never concede to women. You never give women commitment fully, never commitment permanently, and never commitment exclusively to one woman. So if you're going to remember anything from this video, those are the 3 points to remember. And if you follow that, it doesn't matter if you do give some commitment to a woman and you concede to the woman's wishes and desires. That's fine, perfectly fine. Take her out. It doesn't mean you're going to be spending a lot of money on her, okay? She's not worth that. Unless she reciprocates, an equal amount. It doesn't mean you go overboard, but you do cater to the woman. But you never do it for a lifetime, and you never do it completely, and you never do it to one woman alone. You are built to have parallel relationships. A woman is not. We've talked about this in my previous video. A woman is built to have serial relationships. If one doesn't work for her, it doesn't give her what she is looking for and what she demands, then she will abruptly terminate that relationship, never to look at it again, and find a new slave which will serve her, or at least she thinks she will find a new slave. That's her intention anyway. So, but men are made to have parallel relationships, and we can do that very well. We can literally have intimate, very close emotional relationships with multiple women, and none of these relationships affect or influence any of the other relationships. Now, this is a very, very difficult, impossible concept for any woman to understand, and they will fight to the death not to accept it. I've been through this. There's a little story that I had. I was in Eastern Europe, and we were in a nice city. Actually, my hometown, my birth city, and walking through the main park there, the central park they have, and they had a lot of weddings there, and there was some limousines and the bride and the groom and all the bridesmaids, and I looked at the groom, and he was just a very average looking guy in his 30s, and then I looked at the bride, and she was an average looking, aging towards middle age woman, and that's fine. And then I noticed one of the bridesmaids, and she was just a little bit younger, I think, than the bride, but she was hot, 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 very sexy in her tight dress. And I was there with my lady at the time, and with my girlfriend, and we were watching these proceedings, and I looked at this bridesmaids, and I said, I bet you any money that guy is dying to fuck that bridesmaid. And she looked at me with horror. Ah, there's no way. I said, yes, there is. He doesn't give a fuck about his marriage. He doesn't give a fuck about his bride. He wants to fuck that chick, and if he could get away with it, he would do it. In fact, I would do it. And she was horrified, depressed, just like she's seen the devil, because I've just destroyed her complete fantasy that a man is going to be loyal to her as long as she needs him and wants him. But the point here is control, and what that means is that the woman knows that if she gets a man to be emotionally dependent on her, then she has complete control over this guy. And this guy could be 6 foot fucking 7 inches tall and look like the Incredible Hulk and be a bodybuilder or whatever. And she can destroy this guy, and he's going to be putty in her hands, because she's going to destroy him from within. Because men have a good heart. Men have the capacity for feelings a lot more than women do, and women can take advantage of this, and they do constantly take advantage of this. And so when I pointed out to her that this guy is not going to serve one woman if he can get away with it, or if he ever gets awareness, and he needs variety. He must have variety. We must have variety. We can be with the hottest looking woman in the world, and we could be driving on the street and see some unattractive woman that's bent over, and we would want to fuck her at the same time. You know what I mean? And forget about the hot woman that we do have, because we need variety. Variety is the number one thing that we need, and that's the way we're built, because that's how the genes get around. We need to inseminate as many women as we possibly can be available to us. But then it gets us back that the women actually make that choice. So you have to concede to women to get them to open up the doors. And the first door may not even be open to you. The first door opens based on your attractiveness as a male. And women are actually quite superficial, and they go for attractiveness. And you're on a dating site or whatever, and they see your picture, or they meet you somewhere at a convention or wherever you may be, or at work or wherever, or at the beach or on the street, and they will open up the first door where they will call every other guy a creep, to whom they are not attracted to, and based on your looks, you'll have the first door open and she'll talk to you. But that's only the first door. You haven't gotten very far, all right? And that's when the checklist comes out. She takes out her checklist. And this has happened to me just recently. Met this woman on a dating site, and she opened up the first door for me, no problem. And then I'm ready to fall in love. I'm ready for romance. I'm ready for hot and heavy adventure. I'm ready for the honeymoon. And she's, no. The checklist comes out, and she's interrogating me about everything. How do I feel about this, and the world, and children, and how long have I been divorced, and how do I feel about relationships, and family, and spending time with friends, and all that. And I say, fuck, who gives a shit? I don't want any part of that garbage. I want you. I want your pussy. I want to give you a great time. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. And I'm just laughing going through these. She's sending me emails with questions, like multiple emails with questions. And I'm going, I feel like I'm being interrogated by the KGB. And I don't know what she answered to that. But regardless, if you fail sometimes only one of these questions, you're gone. You're gone. The next door will never be open. And that's as far as you got. And you could be a great looking guy. You could have big, huge, you can have a body and testosterone to the moon, you could be a real man as opposed to a lame ass fucking mangina. You could fuck her brains out. You could bring her sexual ecstasy that she's never had in her life. She will bypass that, no problem, in a flash, if you haven't passed her criteria as to what she wants to see from you, and as to what her agenda is for you. She has already drawn up in her mind what she imagines you doing for her. And so you see, the two objectives are absolutely at odds with each other. And frankly, I have no clue how marriages can even be maintained, or here I am talking about this, or how marriages can even happen. I mean, I think it takes a very stupid, naive, idealistic young man to go into a marriage. Because as I said in my previous video, I don't want to take time and repeat myself. Just watch those videos. A man has to completely sacrifice himself for the woman and to help her reach her objectives, her biological objectives. He has to suppress his own sexuality, his own male nature, in order to serve her. That's the bottom line. There is no other explanation for this. That's the bottom line. And there is no love from the part of the woman. Or if there is any semblance of love, it has to do with conditions. Everything is conditional to a woman. She will love you if you perform a certain way, if you act the way she wants you to act. It's very much a slave-master situation, where the weak, submissive victim of a woman is in fact and wants to be, and her goal is to be in complete control of any man. Where was I? Going right along here. Okay, so anyway, you make her believe that you try your best to pass the huge questionnaire, which is either given to you directly or passively, indirectly. It could be given to you, like in the case of an internet romance interaction. They're forced to give it to you all at once, like a huge, very concentrated questionnaire, interrogation. And she from that she's projecting, and she is already predicting what you're going to be like into the future, months, years, decades into the future. From that very first questionnaire, which arrives by the third or fourth email from her. And so you try your best to pass that exam, and then the next door will be opened, and then the next door will be opened, and the next door will be opened. And then after meeting and after sexual contact, intimacy, after meeting is when you will prove how skilled you are as a man. And being skilled has a lot to do with how much you desire a woman. And if you're skilled, and it's a complicated matter, that's a whole other lecture, videos, whole series of videos as to what you need to be a man. And it all comes down to your sex drive. That's the starting point, your sex drive. How much of a sex drive do you have? How much you want to literally have that woman for lunch. You're so hungry for her. And then sexuality is an art. And anyway, if you come through with being a great performer, you will be able to addict her to you emotionally. And that is a very satisfying position for a man to be in, and at least for me, and I suspect for men in general, all men in general, the ideal situation, the aspiration is to reach such a point where the woman is emotionally dependent on you as a man. Then you have her addicted. And then you can steer the relationship into a direction where you retain a lot of the control. And she will actually be forced to serve you as opposed to you being a puppy dog. But you have to be greatly skilled as a man to reach that position. And women are generally very inexperienced with sex. Women in general, even women who have had a lot of sex, there's women who have had way more sex than the average man has. It doesn't mean anything because they're not sexually responsive. And in order for a woman to be sexually responsive, she has to be introduced to a much higher level of intimacy and sexual proficiency that the average man can provide for a woman. A woman everything has to be done for and to a woman. They are not really capable of doing much for themselves, figuratively speaking, of course. So as a man, you need to develop a woman into being somebody who's manageable, and it can only be done if that woman is addicted to a specific to a man specifically, to one man specifically, and it can be reached. But anyway, the best man in the world, the best men in the world are rejected by women simply based on the questionnaire, on the exam that they're given. And the stupidity of women and the superficiality of women. I mean, how are women superficial? Women are superficial in that they cannot let their biological destiny, their biological objectives go. And that's all that they're focused on. They're not focused on anything else. And if they find the greatest man in the world, they will not notice him because they have determined that this man will not suffice for her biological objectives, regardless of how great this man is and could be. The door will not be opened. She will not open, she'll open the first door, maybe the second door, and that's it. She will not continue opening the doors. You will not actually get into the magic room. To get into the magic room, you have to have the woman addicted to you. And then she will be putty in your hands. However, never permanently. Always temporarily. A woman will temporarily be putty in your hands if you get her addicted to you. However, if a woman finds a better situation for her, she will walk. She will discard you no matter how great you are. No matter if you're Brad Pitt with the personality of John Wayne, she will discard you if she's not getting from you what she thinks she deserves to get from you. So it's a very difficult matter. The drug of every woman is attention, is the attention that she's given. That's her drug. So, in contrast to what MGTOW doctrine teaches you, you must give a woman attention. A woman is like a pet that constantly needs attention, constantly. It's a lot of work. And as soon as you don't give a woman attention, no matter how great of a man you are in every respect, let's say you are absolutely the best sexually. You make her feel like she is in heaven orgasmically. If you stop giving her attention, she will walk. If she feels that you would rather have another woman, she will walk, because a woman is going to be protecting herself emotionally beyond anything else. Supersedes in importance everything else, protecting herself emotionally. And she would rather not have you than not being exclusive to you and not receiving full attention. They're attention whores, and if they don't get attention fully, they will walk. So you must be deceptive in making women believe that you're going to give them everything that they desire. wow, there's a lot more here to talk about, and I didn't even have time to touch on anything because I just expand on one point and I keep going. Let's leave it at that, and we'll pick this up later. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe. That'll give me much more incentive to do these videos. These take a lot of work. They take a lot of brain power and effort and sincerity. I mean, you can't do these right without revealing a lot of personal information on here. So subscribe and make it worth my while, and I will give back to you. I will give back to you. So I hope this was helpful, and see you soon. Bye-bye.